Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. This is a story of a prince who had a beautiful crown. And one day, he lost his crown. It disappeared. So he left his castle and he went out into his kingdom looking for his crown. And he came across Mrs. Duck. And he said, "Mrs. Duck, where is my crown?" And Mrs. Duck said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Prince, I have no idea. Why don't you go ask Mr. Fox?" So he went out around through his kingdom looking for Mr. Fox and found Mr. Fox and said, "Mr. Fox, have you seen my crown? I've lost my crown and I can't find it." And Mr. Fox said, "I'm sorry, little prince, I don't know where your crown is. Why don't you go ask Mrs. Dove?" So the prince went out again into his kingdom, walking around, and found Mrs. Dove and said, "Mrs. Dove, have you seen my little crown?" And the dove said, "I'm sorry, prince, I have not seen your special crown." So now the prince had nobody else to go and ask. So he went to the port and jumped into his boat and went out and left his kingdom into the seas, sailing around the world looking for his special crown. And one day a big storm came and it broke the sail of the boat. And so now the little prince was left just to row through the oceans without any wind to guide him. The only way he could navigate was by looking up at the stars and trying to find his way through the ocean. Until one day he hit an island. He got off the boat, got onto the island, started looking around, and what he saw on the island was a little hut. So he walked up to the hut and went inside the hut and started looking around. But it was very dark and he couldn't see, so he turned on the light switch. And what do you think he saw in the house, children? He did not see his little crown, but he found a cap to put on his head. And he went back to his kingdom with his new cap to live happily ever after.